After a year in Europe, I should have been jet-lagged, half delirious, desperate for sleep. But as I drove the last winding stretch up that old mountain road, all I felt was peace. The tires of my rented pickup hummed along the gravel as alpine trees blurred past. The smell of pine hit me before I saw the cabin. That scent alone had carried me through tough days in Rome, late nights in Amsterdam, and the kind of loneliness that only seems to show up in foreign hotel rooms. My cabin wasn't just a place. It was home in its purest form. Built by my grandfather, passed down to me with calloused hands and firm instructions. Respect the mountain, respect the silence, and never let outsiders change it. And I never had, until I left. Just 12 months, just a sabbatical. I rounded the final bend, a curve I always took slow. Grandpa called it sacred. Final miles for breathing, not speeding, he'd say. But as I crested the hill and the cabin came into view, my stomach twisted. Something was off. No, everything was off. The driveway had been freshly graveled, flat, crisp, unnatural. The fence, once weathered cedar, was painted a smooth coastal gray. Potted plants lined the porch, bursting with unfamiliar flowers. Draped linens fluttered lazily in the breeze. And then the sign, a chalkboard hanging from the porch trellis, handwritten in flowy script. Welcome to Chalet Aurora. Breathe deep. You're home. My foot slammed the brake. The truck skidded to a halt. No. I climbed out. My boots hit the gravel with the weight of disbelief. This wasn't decoration. This was a rebranding. Takeover. The front door opened. She stepped out like she'd been expecting me. Blonde bob, flowing robe, slippers, holding a mug that probably had an inspirational quote printed on it. She didn't look startled. She looked mildly annoyed, like I'd parked on her lawn. You're early, she said, sipping. Check-in's not until 3. What? I managed. This week's guests usually text before arriving. But it's fine, she continued. You can leave your shoes in the mudroom, and I'll show you the... I'm not a guest, I said, stepping forward. This is my cabin. She blinked, then laughed. Oh no, honey, I don't think so. This property belongs to me, I interrupted. My grandfather built it. My name is literally engraved into the back step. She frowned, tilting her head. But that's impossible. I've been here for almost a year. I have mail, utilities. I pay taxes here. I could feel the heat rising in my chest. And who are you? Karen Dellers. I manage the space. Manage it, I echoed. For retreats, wellness weekends, digital detoxes, unplugging and realigning. She said it like it was obvious, like she hadn't hijacked a legacy. I walked around her, pushing past the curtain of smugness she wore like perfume, and stepped inside. I barely recognized the place. My grandfather's wood stove? Gone. Replaced by an infrared salt lamp. The shelves of old trail maps and forestry books? Cleared out. Now filled with herbal teas and vision board kits. Even the bear rug was missing. I stood frozen in the living room while Karen trailed behind me like a tour guide. You see, when I found the listing, it was a mess. completely neglected. I did the work. I transformed it. You squatted, I growled. No, I renovated. I added value. And if we're being honest, it was kind of abandoned. I left for a year. That's not abandonment. Well, she shrugged. You weren't here. I didn't argue. Not right then. Instead, I stepped onto the back deck and called my lawyer, Sam. Sam didn't even let me finish the first sentence before he sighed. You left it empty? I had someone check in once a month. And let me guess. No lease, no caretaking contract? She wasn't even supposed to be here. Sam cursed under his breath. Okay, then let's do this the hard way. Over the next 2 days, Karen made herself at home in my cabin, and I became a guest in my own life. She didn't move out. She claimed she had rights of possession. She tried to show me her paperwork, receipts for gardening tools, her own mail with the cabin's address. Even a P.O. Box rear-out form she claimed gave her resident status. I brought in a sheriff's deputy. He was sympathetic but cautious. Civil matter, he said. Not trespassing yet. She's been here long enough, and the utilities are in her name. You're telling me she can live in my house just because I didn't sleep here for a year? She's playing the gray zone, but a judge can settle it. Karen grinned while the deputy walked back to his cruiser. She leaned against the doorframe like she was already picking out new drapes. So we filed. Unlawful occupancy, fraudulent mail rerouting, property misrepresentation. Sam called in a property rights specialist. We traced the title, the deed, even old land survey photos. Everything pointed to one conclusion. She had no legal claim, but she wouldn't go quietly in her countersuit because of course she filed one. She claimed I abandoned the property and that she'd made substantial enhancements. She wanted damages for the improvements she made. The new gravel, the paint, the potted plants. She even tried to bill me for branding costs. Because she'd established a wellness identity around Chalet Aurora. Sam looked like he aged 5 years when he read that line. The court date came fast. Karen arrived in a flowing white dress, barefoot, holding a crystal in one hand and a planner in the other. I came in boots, flannel, and a binder full of proof. It wasn't even close. The judge read the title records, reviewed the timeline, and declared flat out, this woman was never authorized to reside in or modify the property. He ordered her out within 48 hours. But it didn't end there. As part of the ruling, she had to compensate me for unauthorized use of the cabin, for rental income she collected illegally, for damage to historic interior features, and for mail fraud. Sam negotiated a settlement. Karen now pays me $1,250 a month for 5 years. Not because she lives there, but because she stole time in my home and the court called it what it was. Theft. She's gone now. The linen curtains are packed away. The tea jars are gone. The name Chalet Aurora has been sanded off the trellis and replaced with what my grandfather carved himself. Hollow Pine Cabin, 1963. The bear rug is back. So is the stove. So is peace. And I'm home.